Hello everybody, happy Wednesday. So I'm trying to get this done between rainstorms. This is not a good day, but where I left off with my last week's hive checks was that, I found queens on all of them and they are not laying a ton of eggs yet, so I hope that changes things, but I'm gonna stay optimistic that they will ramp up their production. But the one important thing to start doing even this early, as early June, is monthly mite counts in the hive, because part of my demise last year was that I found that they ended up weakening because of a deformed wing virus and some kind of a paralysis virus and very high mite counts as at late August, September last year, and really by the time I found it and treated, it was too late. And so this is not a fun thing to do. Here this kind of a mite count thing requires, actually, for most accurate results, killing bees because you drown them in alcohol, and that's what separates the mites that are on the bees from their bodies. There are some ways of doing powdered sugar shakes, which doing some confectioner's sugar shakes off the mites but keeps things alive and keeps the adults alive. But it's a little less accurate, and as a newer person, I'm not gonna necessarily work on getting I'd rather have accuracy and focus on just the maintenance of the superorganism of everything. So we'll see if these girls are cranky today, because it already did rain earlier today and it's not looking super nice and sunny right now. But I'm just going to try to work on smoke and show what it involves as far as doing mite counts for them. So this top box I'm not worried about. That's kind of an extra for their continued brood. But what I'm going to try to look for is a frame of bees that actually has brood in it, and a lot of brood ideally, because those are being attended to by nurse bees, and nurse bees are the ones that have the highest mite counts. So if I want to get a fairly accurate percentage of them counted in us, then that would be the way to go for it. I'll leave the babies alone. The babies will live, but some of the nurse bees are going to die, and we'll work from there. So I'm just going to kind of cut to the chase and see if this top box has something. I see, as you can, a ton of bees in the middle there, and we're going to try to get a frame out and see what we find in there. Well, here we are. I have a frame of brood. There's bees on this thing, so this is the way I work on it. I'm going to take this out, and then we're going to shake them in a bin, and then from the bin they're going to go to their demise in the alcohol wash. I fill it to the lower line of this. It's a pre-made product called Varroa Easy Check that actually the bottom line would be equivalent to about 300 bees. So this is one of those where I say, so sorry, but thank you for your sacrifice. And here we go. Got to get everything ready. They don't fly so well at this age. Also, that's a nice thing about nurse bees. But shake them out. Down with that. And there we go. Got some carnage there. I may have to add some more because that was a little bit of a smaller frame, but I do have to effectively swish things around and for 30 seconds, and this ultimately ends it for them. And I'm going to see if there's another frame of bees that I could work with, but did I fill the bottom line? Not quite. Not quite. I'm going to get a little bit more and try again with a second wash and find out what we have. Alright, I was a little clumsy. Still had a bunch of bees that I landed on the grass and didn't get on the second one, but I got to at least the first line, which is 200 bees, which is, minimum acceptable. So probably maybe say 250 in there. I'm sorry, girls. It's all about the superorganism colony survival. But if I move the camera then to show, what would happen is these bees, the mites shaken off, would bring the numbers of the mites to the bottom of this container. And when I show this, there is actually one mite right there. See if I could zoom in on this thing and get it on a better view. Where did that thing go? Right over, get my finger on it. There's one mite, one varroa mite. So, what am I looking for? I'm looking for less than 2%. So this is actually an acceptable number, not requiring treatment. If I did have something to treat, I would have to find one of many treatments that are out there that are, save the bees, but kill off a large number of mites, and then I'd have to recheck things in 2 weeks to see if the treatment worked, because the number one problem with mites is treating and assumed it worked. But this colony and fossil box is doing okay. And the other good news is I'm actually seeing more brood there. So that queen is definitely laying strong. And so I'm going to do this for the other checks, but for the other two hives, but I'll just update you if there's any problematic spots in there. And one thing we want to make sure of when we are doing these mite counts, like, ooh, here's a nice frame with brood. This is in the last one, the brick house, which is a little slower to start. But yeah, you don't want to sacrifice the queen bee. So when you do these mite checks, for the love of God, make sure the queen isn't on the frame that you're about to drown. So, just a little word of advice. But I'll check this one in a minute, and then I'll give you an update here. Of course, when I check it, it's not going to be without Madam BB8 over here. Okay, then in my brick house one, the one with the smallest number of bees and eggs, although she's starting to ramp it up a little bit, I am seeing 0 mites for 300 bees. So I effectively have in my log a lot of good stuff here. I've got 1 for 200 in fossil box. Ocean view, I counted 1 in 300 bees, and this is 0 in 300. So no treatments needed. Keep a watch on this monthly, but now it's just a matter of building them up and letting them start getting the actual honey production for fall. So life is good this week. Thanks, everybody.